Applications of systems of linear equations can be tricky, and here we're going to do some mixture applications, and more specifically, acid. So how many ounces each of a 5% acid and a 20% acid must be combined to obtain 10 ounces of a solution that is 12.5% acid? All right, so there's some steps to this. I personally think the easiest thing first is to identify your variables. So if I say, okay, I have a 5% acid, and I'm going to say that that is X, and then my 20% acid, and I'm going to call that Y. So at least I know this is the amount. So X ounces of my 5%, Y ounces of my 20%. Now, when I'm writing my initial system of equations, we know that together we're going to have 10 ounces. So my 5% acid plus my 20% acid is going to give me 10 total ounces. So there's one of my equations. Now, my second equation deals with the percentages. So if you think about it, I have 5%, and I don't know how many ounces of that. So 0.05 times X plus my 20%, which would be 0.2, and I don't know how many ounces of that, so times Y. And then together that's going to give me my 10 ounces that are going to be at 12.5%. Remember, 12.5%, 12.5% as a decimal is 0.125. So in that equation right there, I'm going to go ahead and simplify that last part. So I'm going to have 0.05x plus 0.2y equals 1.25. Okay, so now I have my system of equations. I've got x plus y equals 10, and 0.05x plus 0.2y equals 1.25. Now, if we're going to solve these, probably easiest to do it with elimination. And I am not a huge fan of decimals. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. When I look at that second equation, I see very quickly all three pieces here, all three terms have decimals. So I'm going to multiply this one by 100 because that moves each decimal spot over 2 places. So that's going to give me 5x plus 20y equals 125. So at least my decimals are gone. Now, in thinking about elimination, I'm going to multiply the top one by -5 because then I will have -5x minus 5y equals -50. If you notice when I did that, it allows me to have same coefficient of x, right? They're both 5s, but we have opposite signs. So if I take -5x plus 5x, those go away, right? It's just 0. -5 plus 5 is 0. Then I have -5y plus 20y, which is 15y, and -50 plus 125 is 75. If I divide both sides by 15, I get a y value of 5. Great, wonderful, we love this. We're going to take that and substitute back into one of the original equations. Personally, I think the top one is easier because we would take x plus y equals 10. Y is 5. So that means x is also 5. So how many ounces of each? We're going to have 5 ounces of the 5% and 5 ounces of the 20%. So important to identify your variables so you know what you're talking about, and then see what's the information we have. All right. Let's go through another one. You have a container of pure acid and a container of 5% acid. You want to create a solution that is 24% acid. How much of each acid is needed to create 25 ounces of a 24% solution? All right. First things first, pure acid. Pure acid means 100%, okay? And so we're going to call that X. We don't know how much it is, but it's X. Then we have 5%. We'll call that Y. So again, we have 2 unknown values, and we're dealing with different percentage of acid. So I know that our total amount of acid, X plus Y, is 25. And we have percentages. So if I go to my X If you think about that last one, we took the percentage times the number of ounces. Well, 100% as a decimal is just 1. 5% is 0.05. So when I write this, I'm going to have 1x plus 0.05y equals 25 times 0.24. Okay, great. Well, what is 25 times 0.24? So I'm going to have x plus 0.05y equals 6. All right, so here are my two equations. You'll notice that our x's both have a coefficient of 1. So we already have the same coefficient. We just need them to be opposite signs. So I'm going to multiply this second one by a -1. So I'm going to have x plus y equals 25, and then negative x minus 0.05y equals -6. So that when I add those together, you'll notice that our x minus x is 0. Y minus 0.05. Remember, this is 1. So 1 minus 0.05 is 0.95y, and 25 minus 6 is 19. So if I divide both sides by 0.95, I get that y is 20. So if I substitute that back into the original, I get x plus 20 equals 25. That means x is 5. So I need 5 ounces of the pure acid, and I need 20 ounces of the 5% acid in order to create 25 ounces of a 24% solution.